Thank you everyone for being here today and for allowing me to say a few words. Thank you especially to the People's Support and to ECRI for organizing this event today. My name is Kevin Boudris. I'm a senior attorney at Conservation Law Foundation. First and foremost, I would like to thank Speaker Shekarchi and Majority Leader Blazejewski for announcing that this bill, H8089, will not move forward in the House this year. I'd also like to thank, just a few of the representatives, some of whom are here or were here just a few minutes ago, who did so much work in the House to lead us to this, to prevent this bill from moving forward, including Representative McGowan and Rep. Portman, who was here just a few minutes ago, and Rep. Kassar and Rep. Kislak as well. This bill, H8089 and Senate Companion 2788, would have stripped communities of their right to object to dangerous plastic burning facilities. And these bills would have picked particular neighborhoods as the sacrifice zones for these communities. They also would have exempted high heat facilities from other common sense waste regulations, like siting restrictions, operating standards, emergency management plan requirements, and closure plans. And what we're talking about here today is really part of a nationwide pattern of injustice, inequity, and climate damage. Nearly 80% of waste burning facilities across the country are located in Black and brown communities and low-income communities. And now, the waste and petrochemical industries are pivoting towards supposedly new types of waste burning technology, like gasification, pyrolysis, and so-called advanced recycling. And that same trend is once again playing out. This is not an accident. Lawmakers throughout the U.S. are specifically targeting certain communities, again, Black and brown communities and low-income communities, for these so-called advanced recycling facilities. They're doing this on behalf of the petrochemical industry and their lobbyists like the American Chemistry Council. They want to make it as cheap and easy as possible to make and burn plastics at the expense of those folks who are forced to live near these dangerous facilities. So-called advanced recycling facilities are toxic, they're climate damaging, they burn plastics. They don't recycle anything. They don't recycle plastic. They don't divert plastics from the landfill. They're meant to keep us hooked on that cycle of making and burning as much plastic as possible. We do not need these facilities here in Rhode Island, and we will not stand by while certain lawmakers try to force these facilities on communities like South Providence, who have been the target of polluting industries for decades upon decades upon decades. Again, Conservation Law Foundation is grateful to Speaker Shekarchi, Majority Leader Blazejewski, and all of the reps that stood up and stood in the way of this awful bill from passing in the House. And we hope that when we're back here next year, we're advocating for legislation that prevents this from ever happening in the future. We don't need to be back here every single year saying no to plastic burning facilities, no to forcing dangerous facilities on environmental justice communities. It's time to get this right. It's time to say no to a dangerous industry forever. Again, grateful for those who have stood up and done the right thing. We'll be back here next year to make sure we get it right again. Thank you.